Okay, the snow has melted and things have started to warm up a little bit. So what's going on with the real estate market? My name's Ed Huck with Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here to give you your real estate market update, and I try to keep these under 5 minutes. So let's dive right into this. Okay, interest rates. What's going on with interest rates? So interest rates actually went down a little bit in the middle of February, beginning of March, and now they've ticked right back up with all the bombing in Iraq. The bond market has gotten a little skittish, so you'll see that rates have kind of tipped right back up. And though they are still at very low, so they're still hovering right around 6%, 6.1%. So, a year and a half ago, they were in the sevens. So it's great to see interest rates in the sixes. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. Number of new listings and listings currently for sale. Both are up. Both are up about 3%. Now, when you look at it, though, that's not a lot of houses. So we went from, this year to date, new listings, we have about 3,200. Last year to date, we had about 3,100. And this is all for Cuyahoga, Lorain, and Medina counties. So we'll have to keep an eye on this as well. Again, it's up, but not a lot. Number for sales is also up, which means the number of homes that are available to go look at. There's more this year to date than there is last year to date. Number of homes that have gone under contract, that's what we call pending. So that's actually up 6.2%. So that's actually a more sizable number this year. So more homes have gone under contract this year than last year to date. The interesting thing, though, is you will see the number of transfers is actually down this year to date versus last year to date. So what's going to actually happen is, and the reason I like to look at these numbers year to date versus year to date is sometimes it's weather dependent. Sometimes what's happening in the news cycle, those kind of things will have effect. So when you figure out where pendings are up 6.2%, solds are down 8.5%, when those wash out, we're really probably only about 2% off of closings year to date, because historically most of those homes that went pending will eventually turn into solds. So again, we'll make sure that those, keep an eye on that. Busy this February versus February 25. If you look at here at the bottom over in the middle, so if you look at current versus same month 1 year ago, so February 25 versus February 26, you can see we were very busy. So number of pendings was up 12%. So when I saw that first graph, it made me start to think, what's going on? Well, the reason pendings are up is because this February was stronger than last February. But then if you go back and look at January 25 was stronger than January 26. So it's starting to even itself out a little bit. And this graph also shows very similar things. The one in the middle is really interesting, actually, though. See, the first basically 12 days of this March versus the first 12 days of last March, a lot more homes have gone under contract. So you're definitely starting to see things heating up as far as homes under contract just in the last 2 weeks. So that's great news if your house is on the market. Average sold price, it's up 10%. So this year to date versus last year to date. That's a lot, obviously, right? So, we've had a lot of buyers say, I'm just going to wait until the home market slows down and then I'm going to buy a house. Well, guess what? If you would have bought a house last February, it's worth 10% more than it is this February. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and waiting for the market to crash, in Northeastern Ohio, I don't think it's going to crash. We're going to talk about that more in a second. But days on market is actually up. But when you again look at the actual numbers, it's only taking 2 extra days this year to sell a house than it did last year. So it's still tracking at about 54 days. Months worth of inventory. This is where we track, is it a buyer's market? It's a seller's market. It's actually a little faster this year than last year as far as months worth of inventory. So our new listings are getting absorbed a little bit faster. That's why you see those pendings. So, right, they're getting pended quicker than they did last year. And then when you look at this graph, and if you're looking at it on a phone, I apologize. But anything, when we talk about months worth of inventory, and right now we're tracking, again, at 1.5 months to sell off our current inventory, that is still a very strong seller's market. Anything under 3 is considered a seller's market. 3 to 6 months worth of inventory is a neutral market. Anything over 6 months is a buyer's market. You can see we tipped into a neutral market all the way back in about 2013, and then it slipped into a seller's market in about 2017, and it's been a strong seller's market ever since. You can notice, though, when we see those ups and downs, those little waves, that's summer versus winter, summer versus winter. So it takes a little bit longer for inventory to be absorbed in the winter than it does in the summer. But the trend you can kind of see since about 2022 is we are slowly starting to add inventory. Is going to keeps taking a little bit longer to get absorbed. So it's going to be a little while. You know, people are again waiting for this huge, big shakeup to happen. It took us 4 years to get from a buyer's market all the way into a seller's market. So it's not going to immediately switch right back up. So you will slowly start to see the market march back towards neutral. But that's going to take a few years, folks. And the other reason that's going to take a long time is there's not a lot of new construction in Northeastern Ohio. Other markets, Florida, Arizona, Texas, has a lot of new construction being put on the market, and we don't have that. So I continue to say it's going to be a strong seller's market, especially in the under 300 price points. Very, very competitive. Any listing that we've had recently that's in that price range is sold very quickly. Again, inventory's ticking up slightly, but not much. Interest rates, these low interest rates in the 6s, we're hoping is going to bring out more buyers come springtime. You know, 2 years ago, it was in the 7s, high 7s, and we knew that was part of the reason a lot of buyers were sitting on the sideline. Again, not enough new construction. For sellers, buyers are back asking questions. Appraisals are coming in conservatively in our area. We've had a lot of houses go under contract and not appraised. Prepping your house still matters more than ever. As a seller, I can tell you right now, when our sellers do all of our suggestions, the houses are selling very quickly. I can almost guarantee it. If you do everything that between myself and our stagers tell you to do, we're going to be able to get you top dollar for the house, and it's going to sell quick. Experience counts more than ever these days. The reason for that is almost 18% of deals, so homes that went under contract in December, fell apart and they came back on the market because of appraisals and inspections. So make sure you pick a great agent when you're getting ready to list your house. Other markets in the United States have already shifted into a buyer's market. So we're going to keep our eye on that. For buyers, in the higher price ranges, you might have more negotiating power than last year. So we've noticed that. So, you get over $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, there's not as many buyers in those price pools. So you might have a little bit more opportunity to either negotiate off the price a little bit or not have to give the seller your firstborn just to get the house. Sellers are more open to take some repairs and credits, again, especially in the higher price points. I will tell you, though, at any price point, if the house is in great shape, all updated, shows beautifully, they're still selling quickly. And a prepared buyer can win in multiple offers. So if you're out there looking for a house and, make sure you come talk to one of our team specialists. They can do a whole buyer strategy session to make sure that your buyer's offer, so your offer, if you're a buyer, can win in multiple offers. And we consistently have our buyers winning time and time again in multiple offers. So this is for all of pretty much Northeastern Ohio. If you want to know the stats for your neighborhood, always feel free to reach out to us. We're your local real estate economist of choice. So enjoy your week. Take care. Thanks.